you said something the other day that it's the real presence because he's joined to it, and
not joined to it. That's a particular view held by. I don't want to misrepresent them, but from my understanding, and guys, you can correct me, the Lutherans would hold to what they call consubstantiation, meaning the bread and the cup are joined with the body and blood of Christ, whereas the historic church, Christians historically believe, the bread and the cup are changed, their substances change, so that though you're looking at bread and you're looking at wine, the substance is no longer that of bread and wine. It's the actual physical flesh, body, blood of our Lord, and it's his divinity that makes that flesh and blood efficacious for us, because it's the one person of Christ who's now being present in Eucharist, and by his grace, the bread and the wine become his flesh and blood. So it's not conjoined, it's transformed.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll go to the next question. Thank you for that. The other thing, this one is, I need you to either destroy or steel man this argument for the Trinity.
Yes.
So, which I do believe in, obviously. But
it's
that it seems that there are God is statements, and it seems like God is noun, like insert noun.
Okay. God is whatever. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. God is light. God is love.
Sure.
Yeah. It seems like there's only 3 that are like descriptive of his essence, like love, light, and fire.
I don't know, because even when you say God is fire, if you're talking about the fire that you see, fire is material substance, but God by nature is a material, and he created all matter, right?
Right.
So what does it mean he's fire?
I just mean the verse where it says that he's a consuming fire.
That God is a consuming fire. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just see those as.
So when he says, "I'm the truth and I'm the life."
Yeah.
So what about those?
That's why I'm asking. Yeah.
Oh, you're asking me? Okay.
I'm asking you. Yeah. Yeah.
No, because I just showed you. He says, "I'm the truth. I'm the life." Also, it says, "He is love, but I am holy." So when you tell me only 3, no, there's a lot more.
Well,
and he doesn't have to say God is or I am for you to know that he possesses these characteristics. If we say God cannot be tempted with evil, he himself does not cannot be tempted with evil. God cannot deny himself. God cannot lie. Well, these are statements about God's nature, right?
Right.
There's both positive affirmation, negation. He cannot do this. He only does this. Okay, but yeah, so you wanted to steel man, I thought, an anti-Trinitarian argument.
No, like I might not be explaining it well because it's something I kind of just stumbled on. That's why I was going to ask. But I guess just to clarify that those nouns seemed more specific to what he's actually made of, if that makes sense.
Can't be if you said God is consuming fire, but he's not made of fire, because fire is matter. It's a material substance.
Yeah.
So that's a metaphor, right?
It is metaphor, yeah.
Even when Jesus says, "I am the way," well, the way is not a person, right? So whatever it means, "I am the way," it would have to be taken to mean that I'm the one who brings you to your destination, because he is your destination. Your goal is to be with Christ forever and enjoy him, right?
Yeah. Love him. Yeah. Okay.
So
thank you.
when you say is and am, well, there are a lot of is and am statements. You can't take them at face value. When he says, "I am the true vine," or "God is the rock." So even the am and is statements, not all of them are reflective of his essence, in the sense that God is not a material rock. But what does the rock metaphor mean? Stability, impenetrability, right? Immovability. I mean, like you have a sturdy rock, he's stable, he's reliable, he's dependable.
Yeah.
So it's deep. It's a process of learning. You're going to continue to learn. So you're young. The more you study, the more you learn, the more you're going to grow, the more you're going to, oh, okay, now I catch the metaphor. Yeah, like the Lamb of God, stuff like this. Yes. Someone's mentioned that.
Okay. Yeah. So, because I've read a bunch of those is statements, and then I was like, it seemed like those 3 were sticking out to me for some reason. So that helps. Thank you. The next question I had was on spiritual development. So I've watched some of your stuff, read some articles, and where you were kind of saying that, like in Romans 7, you can like beat your body and keep your mind on the spirit.
9, you mean, right? 1 Corinthians 9:24-27. Because you said Romans, beat your body and
right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like Romans 8, where you keep your mind fixed on the spirit, essentially.
Yes, do not be fixated on the flesh, and that's also Galatians 5.
Yeah.
16-26.
26. Okay.
Galatians 5 says, yeah, we're good. Yes.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So this gets into, you can tell I have a lot of metaphysical questions, but this kind of gets into like healing the sick, like miraculously. So if I'm kind of like trying to decipher if I'm able to, fast, get super close to God, and then that would give some type of like James 5, more answers to prayer, stuff like that, right?
The more you are, the holier you are, the less sin you are, the more your will be ordered in line with God's will. But that doesn't mean every single instance of prayer you will be answered, because we have instances in which Paul left someone sick because he couldn't travel with Paul. 2 Timothy 4:20. Erastus remained at Corinth. Trophimus I left ill at Miletus. Now, if being holy always guaranteed that you would get everyone whole, healed, you got a problem. Unless Paul lacked faith, Trophimus I left ill at Miletus. So the holier you are, the more righteous you are, the more your will is ordered and in line with God's will.
Yeah.
So that's the key. What makes you holy? You become a reflection, an image of God's character. So the more I know God, the more I obey God, the more I reflect God, the more I know his will and mine, the more I will act in line with his will and his mind, and therefore I'll know how to pray proper prayers.
Yeah, like 1 John 5, basically, right?
Well, it talks about, yes, that if you obey his commandments, he will hear you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So does that mean like if I'm because I'm comparing that to when Jesus said, many will call me Lord, Lord, and they'll say, they did healing miracles and exorcisms essentially without being saved. So there's some ability somewhere, right? Like, because they were able to use the name of Jesus
like
for
Judas.
Judas
is one of them. He raised the dead, gave sight to the blind, cleansed lepers. Yes, that can also be done, which again goes back to the point that miracles in of themselves is not an indication that you're holy. But in the case of what you're telling me about praying for healing, not everyone's going to get healed all the time.
Right.
Now, that can be either reflective of you have no faith, or it wasn't God's will for that person to be healed at that moment.
Right. I think
case
I'm
basis.
sorry. Yeah, I was kind of referring to Romans.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think there was a delay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Romans 9, I think, is what I was kind of leaning on there, where it's not on our effort, but on God's mercy. Would that kind of flow?
Not in that context. In that context, it's talking about God saving people and God choosing people or God rejecting people. I mean, you can extend that principle to what you're talking about, but you're giving me Romans 9. Romans 9 is a specific context. It's talking about election, choosing, rejecting, and saving. It's based on the mercy of God, the compassion on God.
Yeah.
Right? That's Romans 9, 13-15, specifically 15, citing Exodus 33:19. In that context, it's talking about election, choosing or rejecting and or saving. And it says it's all dependent on the mercy of God. Now, in the context of salvation, does God want everyone to be saved and therefore extend his mercy to all? Yes. Because if you don't stop at Romans 9 and continue to Romans 11:32, it says God has imprisoned everyone to disobedience so that he might show mercy to all.
Yeah.
Mercy to all.
Oh, okay. This is good.
So that's a different context, what you're quoting me. That context is talking about election, rejection, choosing some over others, and also the issue of salvation. But when it comes to God's desire to save all, does God want to extend mercy to all because he wants all to be saved? Yeah, Paul says it, Romans 11:30, 32. Romans 11:32. For God has consigned all men to disobedience, that he may have mercy upon all.
Okay. Nice. Awesome.
Right?
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So the ministry school I went to was Assemblies of God, and they teach like healing in the atonement. So Isaiah 53, right? And then that, yeah, right. And so, yeah, right. And they use that, which I would say works, I guess, in light of, I think it's 1 Peter 3:2, where it says you are healed.
First Peter 3:2, what are you talking about?
Where he says, by his stripes you are healed. Is Peter says, I don't think it's
1 Peter 3:2. So 1 Peter 3:2 says you are healed. What do you mean? What do you refer to?
So I'm trying to say that they teach that since healing's in the atonement, which makes sense. And then Peter says that it's for present tense. Then we can heal every time, all the time.
So Miletos wasn't healed all the time, every time, huh?
They have objections for that I feel are weak.
Do you have any objection? The fact is, if you can be healed all the time, every time, Miletos, why was he not healed?
They say that phrase could mean was exhausted from ministry, not like actually sick.
Yeah, they can say what they want.
No. Yeah. So I felt like I said, that argument was weak. But yeah, I think that answers my questions. And it seems like even with like water baptismal regeneration and the Eucharist turning to the flesh, there's a lot of these like I don't have a word for them, but like objects that seem to like open us to this spirit world, for lack of a better term. Like, does that make sense? What I'm kind of saying?
I don't know what you're asking me. No. What do you mean? What opens up the spirit realm? What do you mean?
Now that we have access to the Father through Jesus, like
we have access to what?
To the Father through Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we see that like the real presence in the Eucharist.
Okay.
Getting saved through water.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm kind of trying to relate these material things.
Oh, you're saying, okay. You're trying to say that God works through material substances to bring salvation?
Yeah, and to do these other.
Yeah, well, all of these things you're doing have the purpose of sanctifying you, purifying you, cleansing you to conform to the image of God in holiness, right? Like Eucharist, baptism. So is that what you're saying? Does God use these means?
Yeah, it seems he does, but I'm curious if there's anything fundamental about it, if that makes sense.
That God is pleased to work through the material universe that he created.
Yeah, is there more understanding to be gathered there that I'm missing?
You're confusing me, brother. I wish I
know. Well, that's why I got on here. So
yeah, but I can't answer if you're confused and ask me the question. Unless you want me to try to figure out your question. What are you asking me? I still don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, is there a reliable use of these things outside of like water baptism and Eucharist, such as like an instrument, for example, or like
reliable use of what things?
Material things.
Yes. Do you have any in the Catholic Church? The Catholics, don't we have what's called the scapular? Yes, there are stuff like that the Catholics are encouraged to have for blessings. Yes, like the scapular.
Scapular. That's what I was looking for.
Thank you. Yeah. That's what it is. And so if you're asking me, does God use material items, objects, to communicate blessings? And also, can material objects, items be used to also communicate curses, demonic oppression? Yes, both are true. Mm-hmm. So you can have objects that are tainted with the demonic that once you bring into your household, you bring demons into your household to oppress you. For example, Ouija board. That's one item, right? Or when you use potions, because even the word for sorcery in the Greek New Testament is the same word where you get pharmacy, pharmaceutical, pharmakeia. Why is the term sorcery pharmacy? Because if anyone has studied black magic or studied magic, M-A-G-I-C-K, not magic tricks cards. Anyone who knows anything about the spiritism, witchcraft, you'll see involved in these rituals are potions or what we'd call pharmaceutical aids. In fact, even the Indians, when they would get high, let's say do peyote, they weren't doing it just to chill. They believed through these psychedelic drugs, they would open themselves up to the spirit realm. So material objects can be used to pass on blessings or curses and demonic oppression. Now, is there a biblical basis that God works through material objects? Yeah, I'm going to show you some.
Yeah, great.
That God uses them. 2 Kings 13, 20, 21. Why do you think in the Eastern Orthodox or Oriental Orthodox Catholic traditions, they will visit the shrines and tombs of holy men, asking the saints whose bodies are entombed and preserved, because their souls are not there, to then intercede and pray. Why? Because here, 2 Kings 13, 20 to 21. So Elisha died, and they buried him. Now bands of Moabites used to invade the land in the spring of the year. And as the man was being buried, lo, a marauding man was seen, and the man was cast into the grave of Elisha. And as soon as the man touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood on his feet. So here are the bones of a dead prophet that resurrected a dead body. 2 Kings 13, 20, 21, right?
Yep.
Now watch. Acts 5, 14 to 16. And more than ever, believers were added to the Lord, multitudes of both men and women, so that they even carried out the sick into the streets and laid them on beds and pallets, that as Peter came by, at least his shadow might fall on some of them. And when it did, what happened? The people also gathered from the towns around Jerusalem, bringing the sick and those afflicted with unclean spirits, and they were all healed, just by his shadow, huh? Acts 19, 11, 12. What about the handkerchiefs, the aprons that Paul used? Acts 9, 19, 11, and 12. And God did extraordinary miracles by the hands of Paul, so that the handkerchiefs or aprons were carried away from his body to the sick, and diseases left them, and the evil spirits came out of them. That's why we're not Gnostics. God created the material universe and is going to restore it and use matter to bring about healing, wholeness, salvation. Hence, bread and wine, giving us the body and blood of Christ. Here, John 9, 6 and 7. How does Jesus heal the blind man? Instead of just saying, see, your eyes open, look what he does. He said this, he spat on the ground, made the clay of the spittle, anointed the man's eyes with the clay, and not only that, he made him go into the pool and wash in the pool of Siloam. So he went and washed and came back seeing. So there you go.
Awesome. So if the Lord was to use me or you or somebody for these things, like what could we expect to know or feel or anything be indicated to move like this?
I mean, you want confirmation whether you think you're a healer?
I don't know how to answer that necessarily.
It seems like you were trying to figure out whether you were called to go into a healing ministry. By what authority, though?
No, well, I didn't grow up with authority, so
that's what I'm saying. If you think you're called to heal, my question is, how do you know that you're called if you don't have someone who's appointed as your shepherd and overseer who can make that call for you?
I wouldn't pose to have anything like that.
So that's the point. To know whether you have a gift, God gives you gifts to be used in the context of the church. And that's the church that God has set up with leadership that you must honor and submit to, like Hebrews 13, 17. So it's in the church that know you personally, not online community where we don't know each other. We just meet each other.
Sure.
The church that you meet locally and are submission to, God will stir up the leaders over your heart as they look at you, focus on you, watch you. They will then recognize the talents you have, and then they will give you the right hand of fellowship and lay hands on you. And by that authorization, the Spirit will work through you.
Cool.
So you'd have to know this in the context of the church that you're part of, and the shepherds that are called to oversee your soul. Hebrews 13:17.
Cool. Yeah.
Right here. Obey your leaders, submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls as men who will have to give account. Let them do this joyfully and not sadly, for that would be of no advantage to you. Obey your leaders, right?
Yes.
Because they are those who are entrusted with care of your soul, feeding you, nurturing you, training you, disciplining you, praying over you, rebuking you. And then they're going to realize, son, God has called you to do X, Y, and Z, because we see it. And it's going to be the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, not in isolation, you yourself, in your kitchen, by yourself. Even Timothy, when he was appointed to prophesy and to lead, watch here. See how it was done. 1 Timothy 4:14, look what Paul says to him. Do not neglect the gift you have, which was given you by prophetic utterance when the council of elders laid their hands upon you. You guys seeing the pattern here? So Timothy, the Spirit, moved through the council of elders to prophesy. This is your calling. This is your gift. And they lay hands on you to authorize you to walk in that gift. 1 Timothy 4:14. Notice the laying of hands. So who lays hands on you?
I've had, it was kind of a fad to do that to everybody for a while, so it's hard to say. But I have a pastor, of course, that I suppose would do that.
Then you have to trust that pastor is of the Spirit. I don't know. You got to make that judgment. Here's another one. 2 Timothy 1:5-6. I'm reminded of your sincere faith, a faith that dwelt first in your grandmother, Lois, and your mother Eunice, and now I am sure dwells in you. Now watch. Hence, I remind you to rekindle the gift of God that is within you through the laying on of my hands. What does that mean? Qualified, Spirit-filled leadership. Being moved by the Spirit to recognize he's got a gift, and then laying hands on you to pass on the anointing of the Spirit, and also as a sign for others, we acknowledge the gift and we authorize them to now walk in that gift. This is what the church called apostolic succession, by the way.
Right.
So that's something the man of God appointed over your life will have to tell you.
Okay.